Programming is easy to learn. That's right, you heard me correctly. All you do is just do something like this. Programming is easy. And we hit Control F5. And there we go. Programming is easy. Bam. Before I talk about computer programming, I want to make a segue into video creation or video editing. So, if you know the game called Valorant, it's a 5-on-5 FPS shooter, and I have made a montage. Oh man, that was kind of loud. I made a montage using Davinci Resolve. And so I learned how to kind of be creative in the way that you are creative with video or with computer programming in kind of like video programming instead. So I'll play that montage now, and you can see the various fades, cuts, and also various effects that were all built into DaVinci Resolve.
Spike planted.
Enemy down.
Spike
nice.
planted. One enemy remaining.
Up.
Flashing. From watching that video, you can see how I've kind of made this montage and made different effects, tried out different things, and all these types of things. What if I told you that I just started learning DaVinci Resolve only about 3 days ago, and this montage took about 2 days to make? You might be kind of surprised, you might not be, but the general idea that I'm trying to say is that with enough effort and persistence, you can make, say, either a montage, you can make a computer program, and you can make a bunch of other things that your creative mind desires. So there's all these things in DaVinci Resolve. There's a media tab, there's a cutting tab, editing, all these things I learned through the help of a YouTube video and other various sources, like Google and all these things. So I learned how to add, say I used brightness flashes. I did use brightness flashes. I used various video transitions, various effects. I even used a bit of titles. I think I even used filters, yeah, for the cipher clip on Bind, if you know which one that is. I used a zoom blur in order to make that kind of effect of a spray transfer between two different opponents. And I gotta put my own creative spin on things. So now let's take a look at programming. So I have 3 projects that I want to show you. First of all, I want to show you the snake game. So let's go into this tab. And I want to show you the snake game first. Alright, so first we're going to start off with the snake game. This was one of the first projects I made this summer. And it basically is the snake game where we have this snake here, where the head of the snake is the blue rectangle, and the body of the snake are the green rectangles. And every time we collect one of these apples, our length of our snake increases. So basically, we don't want to go off the screen or collide into ourself. See, if we collide into ourself like that, the game is over. And basically, this was one of the first creative projects I've done, so I can have this apple here, and then it would spawn in random locations. I could have a score. I could, kind of customize the score, customize if I want to play again or not. Define a high score variable, which if playing again, this will update to be 4. Since the high score is currently 0, 4 is greater than 0. So obviously the high score would be 4. And then, I had some creative inspiration here, and I thought that, I could make this game my way. I could play it from scratch, or make it from scratch, and then it could just be cool. So that's the first game I wanted to show you. Now let's take a look at the second game, which will be Flappy Bird. The second game I'm going to show you is Flappy Bird. And I made this game in order to kind of reminisce on old times, and then it just improved my programming skills. So let's take a look. So if we hit start game, we get this bird here, and we get the kind of pillars. And so basically you want to jump through these hoops, or these arches, I define them as. Oh, don't hit the ground, otherwise you die. So that's that's another part of the game, right? Don't hit the ground, or don't hit the pole here, or the arch. Otherwise you're gonna fall down, like how I show there. And basically that's the main idea of this project, was kind of just to make a replica of Flappy Bird And overall, I think it turned out very nice. So we can see how there's this creative design in making the lettering. There's some design in how the rectangles move, how they're spaced apart. There's some design in the Flappy Bird. Yeah, there was design in the Flappy Bird. And then design in the background too to kind of make a, full-fledged game almost. So it's just really cool to do. It didn't take that long either. I think only like a week to figure out all the kind of nuances and all the ways I wanted to customize my experience, right? So let's go on to the final game, which will be Brick Breaker. All right, the final game is Brick Breaker, and it's not very complete yet, but this one might offer the most amount of customization. So we can see here that I have this kind of how do I say? Oh, it's a little buggy, I think, as you can see there. I think it's a bit buggy. So there's definitely some work that needs to be done here, but this is also a very fun project to get a start on and like understand how uh, kind of collisions work using Pygame. So this is using the Python programming language. Overall, this is a really fun project to get a start with, and there's so much customization you can do with this project. You can, incorporate various levels, different ball speeds, health as well, and all these things into your project, which can really make it a unique version of either Ball Breaker or the Snake game or even Flappy Bird. You can make, kind of Flappy Bird game modes that were like unique and, they had like power ups and all that stuff. So, in the same way that video creation kind of, gets our creative instincts going, and that's supposed to be a lost life, but don't worry about that. But in the same way that creative video making um, gets our creative juices flowing, and it's really fun. Programming in the same way can be really fun and rewarding, especially when you make something from scratch. Alright, finally, all I want to show you is how easy it is to learn programming. All you do is type it into Google, click the first link, and then try it out. And there we go. It's that simple. We start learning programming, and we can start getting your creative juices flowing, and you can make games, you can do, analysis of, anything you want, really. The possibilities are endless, as opposed to video creation. So in video creation, there's a ton of different possibilities, but ultimately you're limited by, say, Adobe, or you're limited by Davinci Resolve, or limited by Photoshop. And these things are very useful in making, say, videos or thumbnails or all these things. But when it comes down to the raw kind of creation of projects and games, programming is definitely a fun thing to definitely try out and experience, while also being very easy to learn and get a initial grasp on just by searching, Googling, watching YouTube videos, understanding what's being done. And it's like anything else. The more time you put in, the more results you will get. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.